Even see that the president of Mexico want the United States to no longer be involved in this. This is something else as well. DynCorp and Afghan dancing boys. And I've talked about sex trafficking of women in the Middle East. There's something else, of course, that is the dark side of Afghan culture. And it's accepted pedophilia. Afghan dancing boys owning a small child, having sex with a small child. We see DynCorp involved in this many, many times. Cynthia McKinney was grilling Rumsfeld on this particular issue back in 2005. We're going to show a short clip of that, but we only have time to show half of it. The rest of it is on the web. But let me read this first. A scandal involving foreign contractors employed to train Afghan policemen who took drugs and paid for young dancing boys to entertain them in northern Afghanistan caused such panic that the Interior Minister begged the U.S. Embassy to try and squash the story. In a meeting with the assistant U.S. ambassador, by the way, this is according to WikiLeaks, but it's also believed that WikiLeaks could also be propaganda out there as well to, of course, prop up the official version of reality that al-Qaeda is a strong organized force that's hell-bent on destroying the U.S. military, when in reality it's funded in many ways, many cases, by U.S. taxpayer dollars. So, of course, there's always an enemy to fight that's lurking in the shadows. That's the pretext for why we're involved in this so-called war on terror. This is very important to understand. But sex crimes and war, they go hand in hand. And so a lot of this is coming out. It came out about the Afghan embassy, the U.S. embassy in Kabul, rather, in Afghanistan, DynCorp, Blackwater, other groups, U.S. military, massive homosexual orgies involving small children, boys, that were trucked in, boys and girls, but in many cases boys. And so a lot of these stories are emerging, and you may not have the stomach to deal with it, but it's happening and it's going on, and it's sick. And so this is what we see here. What we're going to do here is we'll go ahead and play this. Cynthia McKinney, I respect her quite a bit, and if there were more people like her in Congress, we wouldn't be dealing with the situation that we're dealing with. You ought to think about what you're saying very carefully. When we come back, we'll continue with the news.
I thank the gentleman, the gentlelady from Georgia, Ms. McKinney.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I watched President Bush deliver a moving speech at the United Nations in September 2003, in which he mentioned the crisis of the sex trade. The president called for the punishment of those involved in this horrible business. But at the very moment of that speech, DynCorp was exposed for having been involved in the buying and selling of young women and children. While all of this was going on, DynCorp kept the Pentagon contract to administer the smallpox and anthrax vaccines and is now working on a plague vaccine through the Joint Vaccine Acquisition Program. Mr. Secretary, is it policy of the U.S. government to reward companies that traffic in women and little girls? That's my first question. My second question, Mr. Secretary, according to the Comptroller General of the United States, there are serious financial management problems at the Pentagon, to which Mr. Cooper alluded. Fiscal year 1999, $2.3 trillion missing. Fiscal year 2000, $1.1 trillion missing. And DOD is the #1 reason why the government can't balance its checkbook. The Pentagon has claimed year after year that the reason it can't account for the money is because its computers don't communicate with each other. My second question, Mr. Secretary, is who has the contracts today to make those systems communicate with each other? How long have they had those contracts? And how much have the taxpayers paid for them? Finally, Mr. Secretary, after the last hearing, I thought that my office was promised a written response to my question regarding the 4 war games on September 11th. I have not yet received that response, but would like for you to respond to the questions that I've put to you today, and then I do expect the written response to my previous question, hopefully by the end of the week.
Thank you, Representative. First, the answer to your first question is no, absolutely not. The policy of the United States government is clear, unambiguous, and opposed to the activities that you described.
Well, look how well polished his response is.
Second question,
Well, how do you explain
I have no
the fact
knowledge
that
of specific allegations.
DynCorp and its successor companies have received
no guilt,
and
no
continue
remorse.
to receive government
Total
contracts?
reptile.
I would have to go and find the facts, but there are laws and rules
I say
and
that literally.
regulations with respect
Or
to government
metaphorically,
contracts.
who the hell knows? But
and there are times that corporations do things they should not do,
Right.
in which case they tend to be suspended for some period.
Penalty box.
There are times then that under the laws and the rules and regulations passed by the Congress and implemented by the executive branch, that corporations can get off of out of the penalty box, if you will,
They can get off.
and be permitted to
they're getting off.
engage in contracts with the government. They're not generally not
got
barred
literal
in
there.
perpetuity.
They're getting
this
off.
contract, this company was
Kidnapping
never in the
people.
penalty box. If you could proceed to my second question, please.
The second question, I've forgotten what the second question was.
I think Ms. Jonas knows it.
Okay.
Oh, man, I wish we had more time to play the whole
Ms. McKinney.
thing.
I appreciate the question. I appreciate your interest in our department's financial condition, and we are working very hard on that program. I've just come back recently.
I understand that you're
Tina
working hard on it,
Jones!
but my question was, who
Tina
has
Jones
the
is covering
contract?
up sex
How long
abuse.
has that-
Another
have
woman
they
that
had
they've got
contract?
just
And
covering
how
this
much
up.
money have
She
we
has to
spent
cover up
on
for
it?
them.
In general, we spend about $20 billion in the Department on Information Technology Systems. The accounting systems are part of that. I can get you the exact number for the record
Oh, sure,
of
I'm
what
sure
we
you will.
spend on our current, what we call legacy systems,
Right.
and those that
Okay.
we're moving toward.
And who has the contract?
Who has those?
That would be a
Right.
multitude of individuals.
Could you name some, please?
Lots of question marks.
Well, I think off the top of my head, well, I would rather not. I'd rather provide that for the record.
Yeah,
That's not privileged
yeah,
information, is it?
I'm sure it's not.
Well, please.
Please.
And we
Who?
still have time, so please.
Well,
I would be glad to provide for the
Yeah,
record. I don't want to talk from the top of my head and be incorrect.
Raping little
on your
girls,
first
Tina.
question, I'm advised
Raping
by Dr.
little
Cheer
girls,
that it was
Tina.
not the
Rape.
corporation
That's what's
that was
going
engaged in
on.
the
That's
activities
what you're
you
covering
characterized,
up.
but I'm
You're
told it was
sitting
an
here
employee of the
for
corporation.
Rumsfeld, the lizard man,
And,
and you're
it was some
covering up
years
the
ago in
rape,
the
the
Balkans
rapes of
that
little
took
Iraqis
It's
and
my
Afghanis,
understanding that it
and
continues to
all
take
throughout.
place
We don't have any more
and-
time to cover this. I just came back from
If you
drinking
can
some
give me
water.
information
Tastes
to
rancid. I can
understand.
taste the chlorine in this. New report about the water supply. All the more reason to get a water filter. Debacle over drinking water deals a blow to CDC and EPA when it comes to something as basic as ensuring that our drinking water doesn't poison our children. You'd think federal scientists and environmentalists would hustle to give the public the fullest and most reliable information as quickly as possible. You'd also think the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the Environmental Protection Agency would go out of their way to publicize it when the government's own research finds that risk posed by lead in the water nationwide is greater than previously described, that one of the EPA's top recommended solutions is useless. You'd be wrong. These are two important lessons to be drawn from Wednesday's release of a CDC report on the 2004 crisis of lead in the water in the district. And it goes on and on and on. Go to naturalnews.com if you want to follow up on this and a lot of other stories that impact your health. Millions bracing for cutoff of unemployment benefits. We've got this one. Feds warrantlessly tracking Americans' credit cards in real time as they probably build their debtor prisons on the side. And we've got some other ones as well. We've got the Portland Tribune. This is what I've been busy doing most of the week, most of the last 2 months, is, of course, working on the Portland Preparedness Center over at 72nd and Northeast Gleason. So it's a new project I'm involved in. I'm thinking about, not this Friday, but the Friday coming up. Bill, help me figure out the date here. What is it, the 8th or the 9th for this Friday? The 8th or the 9th for this Friday? What's next Friday? The 10th? Next Friday, this upcoming Friday is the 10th, is that right? Okay, so the Friday after that would be the 17th. So go back to the pictures and keep those up and go through all those. But over here at this place, I think we'll be able to play this movie that just came out. It's called What in the Hell Are They Spraying? And What in the Hell Are They Spraying is a new documentary film that goes into aerosol spraying, also known as chemtrails. And it's a well-documented film that, of course, covers in Congress where they're talking about geoengineering the Earth, where they're talking. There's footage in the film of scientists talking about using this type of program to, of course, as they say, fight global warming. They're trying to legitimize it in the eyes of in the minds of the public. And so this is a very important film to come out and see. This is just some random images of the Portland Preparedness Center over at 72nd and Gleason. I'm usually there doing stuff from 10 to 6 Monday through Saturday. 10 to 6 Monday through Saturday. You can contact me by phone at 503-252-2525. That's 503-252-2525. And, of course, if you'd like to donate anything to the Portland Preparedness Center, such as books and, of course, tools, things that can help people become self-sufficient and on their own, of course, please do that and contact me. You can also contact me via email, alex_answery@hotmail.com. And a lot of people want to know if there's some other groups going on or some meetups or things like that. If you've got some sort of a skill, if you've got some movies to donate, if you know some people that could be brought into the city as speakers when it comes to certain skills or people within the city, there are a lot of people that basically don't have a job right now. You should go ahead and figure out if there's something that can be done. Now, a lot of people are asking me, Alex, when's the show on? I catch it randomly. This is when the show is on. It's on live on Sundays. Like right now, it is Sunday. It's almost 7:30. We're almost out of here. Right now, it's on Channel 23. That's right now. Some people are also watching this on YouTube. But the other times, it's Wednesday, 10:30, Channel 22. That's a rerun. It's still on Thursdays. It's been on Thursdays for about 5 or 6 years. And, of course, alexanswery.net is where you can watch the previous shows. Of course, I have another announcement that I'm going to be making officially at some point in the future. alexanswery.tv is going to be launched. Brand new website, brand new HTML. It's going to be CSS 2.0. I'm going to have my own RSS feed so you can keep up to date with the latest shows and the latest news that I'm posting. So if I don't cover something very important on this show, if you're online, you can, of course, subscribe to one of my RSS feeds and, of course, read some of the news that I'm reading from my desk. Of course, last but not least, just a reminder, you can find the Portland Preparedness Center over at 7202 Northeast Gleason. You can contact me at 503-252-2525, and we'll be here next week, same time, same channel, covering a lot more news and, of course, other perspectives. Till then, I'm Alex Answer, reminding you the path to the ultimate truth and, of course, your source of power still lies within. Good night.